You ever notice how life has this strange way of teaching you? It never whispers. It pushes, it pulls, it breaks you until you start paying attention. That's what pain is. It's not an accident, not a punishment, not something life throws at you to make you miserable. It's a message, a teacher in disguise, and the ones who grow through it, they are not the ones who run away from it. They are the ones who learn to listen. Every time you've been hurt, every time something fell apart when you thought it never would, that wasn't life being cruel. That was life trying to show you something you refused to see when things were easy. Because when everything's comfortable, we stop growing. We get attached to the illusion that the way things are is the way they should stay. But pain tears that illusion apart. It forces you to confront truth, not comfort. Think about it. When you touch something hot, you pull your hand back. The pain doesn't come to destroy your hand. It comes to protect it. It says, wake up, this isn't where you're meant to stay. Life does the same. When you're holding on to what's not meant for you, life will start to burn. That's not cruelty, that's correction. It's grace disguised as grief. There are people who spend their whole lives trying to avoid pain, trying to stay safe, trying not to feel too much. But you can't grow in safety. You grow in discomfort. You grow when you're stretched, challenged, stripped of the things that kept you asleep. That's why pain comes. It's the universe's alarm clock. It shakes you, it rattles you, until you can no longer ignore the call to rise. You see, pain carries truth. It shows you where you've been lying to yourself. It reveals the relationships you outgrew, the dreams you settled for, the strength you didn't know you had. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every closed door, it's all part of the same message. You are more than this. But we often confuse pain with punishment, forgetting that sometimes what hurts us most is actually saving us from what could have destroyed us completely. When the storm hits, you don't see the blessing in it. You see the wreckage. You see what you've lost. You feel the weight of it pressing on your chest. But later, when the clouds clear, you realize that the storm washed away what wasn't real. You realize that pain was never there to break you. It was there to wake you up. And let's be honest, there's no strength without struggle. There's no wisdom without wounds. Every great soul you've ever known has walked through fire, because it's in the fire that you find your essence. It's in pain that you find your truth. That's why the most powerful people are not the ones who have never fallen. They're the ones who learned how to rise every single time. You don't need to be afraid of pain. You need to be aware of it. You need to ask it, what are you here to teach me? Because pain always answers. Sometimes it says, let go. Sometimes it says, change direction. Sometimes it whispers, it's time to grow. And when you listen, when you truly listen, it transforms. What once felt like punishment becomes power. Don't run from it. Sit with it. Let it talk to you. Let it burn away what no longer serves you. Because once it's done, you'll see what it's been trying to show you all along. That you were never broken. You were being rebuilt. You'll realize that pain was never your enemy. It was your guide. It was the hand that pulled you out of your comfort and into your purpose. You'll look back one day and say, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have become who I am now. And that's when you'll understand pain is a gift wrapped in fire. It doesn't come to destroy. It comes to deliver you into a higher version of yourself. So the next time life hurts, don't ask, why me? Ask, what for? Don't say, this is unfair. Say, this is forming me. Because pain is not the end, it's the invitation. It's the beginning of a stronger, wiser, deeper version of you. Now, I want you to do something. Close your eyes for a moment and think about the one thing that hurt you most. The loss, the betrayal, the failure, the silence. And instead of asking why it happened, ask what it taught you. Ask what it revealed about your strength, your heart, your truth. That's where your power is hiding, right there, in that wound. If you can see the gift inside your pain, you'll never fear it again. You'll understand that life never takes without giving, never breaks without building, never wounds without healing. Pain only ever comes to awaken the part of you that's been asleep too long. So when it knocks, don't close the door. Open it, face it, learn from it, because every time you rise from pain, you're not the same person anymore. You're stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever before. If you feel this message deep in your heart, take a moment, breathe, reflect, and share it. Because someone out there is fighting through their own pain right now, waiting to hear that they are not alone, waiting to be reminded that even from the deepest hurt, they too can rebuild. Sometimes life has to take everything apart before it can build something real. You can't rebuild until you're willing to break. But the truth is, most people are terrified of breaking. They think breaking means losing control, losing face, losing strength. They think it's a sign of weakness, but it's not. Breaking is how transformation begins. The old version of you, the one that was built to please, to survive, to fit in, has to collapse so the real you can finally rise. When pain enters your life, it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't knock politely. It crashes through everything you thought was solid, and suddenly the life you knew doesn't make sense anymore. The people you trusted might leave. The things you depended on might fail, and you stand there in the ruins asking why. But what if those ruins are not destruction? They're the foundation of your becoming. What if life isn't trying to take something from you, but rather trying to strip away everything that's not true to you? When a building is weak, you don't decorate it. You demolish it. You clear the ground so something stronger can be built in its place. Life does the same. It breaks you down to your essence. It removes your masks, your defenses, your illusions. And though it hurts, that breaking is sacred, because in that space of nothingness, you finally have the chance to rebuild not out of fear, not out of habit, but out of truth. The truth is, every breakdown carries the blueprint for a breakthrough. But most people never see it because they're too busy fighting the process. They're too focused on what's gone, what's lost, what's no longer working. They cling to the pieces instead of allowing themselves to rebuild from the ashes. They keep asking life to bring back what's meant to be gone when life is begging them to move forward. When something in your life falls apart, whether it's a relationship, a career, or a dream, it's not random. It's an invitation to rebuild with awareness, to create something that aligns with who you truly are. Because until you break, you'll keep trying to fix what's not meant to be fixed. You'll keep patching up old walls instead of laying down a new foundation. The seed has to break before it grows. The butterfly has to destroy its cocoon before it flies. The night has to end before the sun can rise. The breaking isn't the end, it's the turning point. It's life preparing you for your next level. But here's the thing. You can't rebuild with the same mindset that broke you. You can't rebuild using the same tools that created your pain. You have to rebuild with consciousness. When life breaks you, you have two choices. You can collapse or you can rise. You can see yourself as a victim or you can see yourself as a work in progress. Pain doesn't define you. It refines you. The difference between breaking down and breaking open is how you choose to respond. One leads to bitterness, the other leads to rebirth. It's in those moments when everything falls apart that you finally meet yourself. You meet the part of you that's still standing after the storm. You meet the part of you that doesn't quit when it's dark. That's the real you. The one that was hidden under layers of fear, expectation, and ego. The breaking is what reveals that truth, And when you start rebuilding, don't rush. Don't try to force your life to look like what it was before. That old life is gone for a reason. Let your new beginning come from your new awareness. Build from patience, from wisdom, from stillness. Because if you rebuild too quickly, you'll only recreate the same patterns in a different form. Sometimes you have to sit in the emptiness for a while. Let it teach you. Let it cleanse you. That's where clarity is born. There's a certain beauty in starting over, in rebuilding from scratch, because this time you're not building from naivety. You're building from experience. This time you know what matters. You know what deserves your energy, your time, your heart. The pain that once felt unbearable becomes your teacher. It gives you the vision to build something more real, more aligned, more powerful. So don't fear the breaking. Don't curse it. Thank it. Because the person you are becoming requires the destruction of who you used to be. The fire that burns you today will light your way tomorrow. Every tear, every loss, every fall, it's all shaping you for something far greater than what you can see right now. You may not understand the reason now, but one day you will look back and realize that everything that fell apart was necessary. You'll see that the breaking didn't happen to destroy you. It happened to rebuild you into someone unshakable. If this message speaks to you, take a deep breath right now and remind yourself, you are not broken, you are rebuilding. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone standing in their own ruins, wondering if they'll ever rise again. Let them know that this is not their end. It's the beginning of their strongest, truest self. There's a moment after every storm when everything goes quiet. The wind stops screaming, the sky clears, and for the first time you can hear yourself again. That silence, it's not emptiness, it's not absence. It's grace, but most people mistake it for loneliness. They think when life gets quiet, something's wrong. They start searching for noise, for distraction, for someone or something to fill that space. But that silence between storms is where the rebuilding truly begins. When everything falls apart, your mind races, your heart aches, and you start searching for answers. But answers don't come in the noise. They come in the stillness that follows. That silence isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's life giving you room to breathe, to feel, to hear what you couldn't hear when everything around you was loud and chaotic. It's in that quiet where strength is reborn. You've probably been through moments when the world went still, when calls stopped coming, when the people you leaned on disappeared, when life forced you into solitude. And maybe it scared you, maybe it made you question your worth. But solitude isn't rejection, it's redirection. Sometimes life pulls you away from everyone else so you can meet yourself. You see, there's a version of you that can only emerge when everything else is silent. Silence has a language of its own. It speaks to your soul in ways words never can. In that stillness, you begin to hear what truly matters. You start to feel what's real and what's not. You start to notice how much noise you've been living with. People's opinions, your own fears, the endless expectations. When all that fades, you begin to rediscover the power within you. You begin to rebuild, not from confusion, but from clarity. When you're in the middle of that quiet, it can feel like nothing's happening. You may think you're stuck, that life has forgotten you, but that's not true. Just like a seed buried in the soil, growth happens in silence. You can't see it, but it's happening. The roots are growing deeper. The foundation is being laid. The silence isn't your setback, it's your setup. The problem is, we've become addicted to movement. We think if we're not doing something, we're failing. We think stillness means weakness, but there's a different kind of power in stillness. The kind that comes from knowing you don't have to chase what's already meant for you. The kind that lets you rest in the middle of rebuilding because you trust that what's yours will rise at the right time. Every time you rush to escape silence, you miss the message hidden inside it, because silence is a mirror. It reflects everything you've been avoiding. It shows you the truth of where you are and what you need to heal. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It will show you the fears you've buried, the wounds you've ignored, the pain you've numbed. But that's the point. Healing can't happen if you won't face yourself. And silence is where you finally do. In that space, you realize that not every battle needs noise. Not every question needs an answer right away. Some things need time. Some things need quiet. The silence between storms teaches you patience. It teaches you to trust the process even when you can't see progress. It teaches you to stop forcing and start flowing. When you finally stop fighting the silence, something beautiful happens. You start to feel peace again, not the kind that depends on circumstances, but the kind that lives inside you. You start to see that peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the presence of understanding. You begin to rebuild not from desperation, but from alignment, and that's where the power lies, because silence doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means something sacred is. The universe is rearranging itself around your growth. You're being shaped, molded, refined in ways you can't yet understand. When you embrace that stillness, when you stop resisting it, you step into a rhythm that's far deeper than the world's noise. You step into alignment with life itself. And when you emerge from that silence, you come out stronger, calmer, clearer. You no longer chase validation. You no longer beg for understanding. You move with intention. You speak with purpose. You act with peace. Because silence taught you who you are when everything else was stripped away. So if you're in that quiet space right now, if it feels like life has paused, don't panic. Don't rush. Sit in it. Listen to it. There's wisdom waiting for you there. The silence between storms isn't empty. It's sacred ground. It's where your next chapter begins to take shape. If you feel this message in your heart, pause for a moment. Don't scroll. Don't move. Just breathe. Let this truth settle inside you. And when you're ready, share it with someone who's sitting in their own silence right now, thinking it's the end. Remind them it's not the end. It's the calm before their rise. There comes a point in life when you have to decide, are you going to be a victim of what happened or a creator of what comes next? Because pain will tempt you to stay small. It will whisper, they did this to you. You didn't deserve that. You can't come back from this. And if you listen long enough, you start believing it. You start living inside that story, where everything and everyone becomes the reason you're not okay. But there's a moment when you have to look in the mirror and say, no more. I may not have chosen what hurt me, but I will choose what I do with it. See, life doesn't just happen to us. It happens through us. Every experience, every heartbreak, every setback, it's all shaping something within. The problem is, most people never make that shift. They stay stuck in blame, waiting for something or someone to fix their story. But healing doesn't begin when someone apologizes. Healing begins when you take ownership of your life again. When you say, this pain will not define me, it will refine me, you can't move forward if you're still trying to rewrite the past. You can't build a new chapter while rereading the old one. The moment you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I create from this? That's the moment your power returns. Because pain doesn't take your power away, holding on to it does. You ever notice how two people can go through the same storm and come out completely different? One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. One curses the darkness, the other learns how to light a candle. It's not the storm, it's the story they tell themselves while walking through it. The difference between a victim and a creator isn't circumstance, it's perspective. When you see yourself as a victim, you wait for life to change. When you see yourself as a creator, you realize life changes when you do. That's when everything shifts. You start seeing the lessons instead of just the losses. You start seeing strength instead of scars. You stop blaming and you start building. There was a time in my life when I thought pain meant punishment. I thought struggle meant something was wrong with me. But now I understand. Pain was never against me. It was preparing me. It was breaking down the parts of me that couldn't carry the weight of where I was going. The victim in me wanted to escape, but the creator in me learned to endure. Because strength isn't born in comfort, it's born in resistance. When you stop identifying with your pain, it loses its power. You realize that what happened is just a chapter, not your whole story. You realize that you don't have to keep reliving what hurt you. You can rewrite what it means to you. The past doesn't have to be a prison. It can be a platform. The things that tried to break you can become the very things that build you. When you shift your focus from what you lost to what you can learn, life starts opening up again. You stop waiting for validation, for closure, for revenge. You start living from purpose. You start creating meaning out of the mess. That's how true freedom begins. Not when everything's fixed, but when you realize you were never broken beyond repair. There's power in saying, yes, this hurt me, but it won't hold me. Power in saying, I didn't deserve that, but I deserve to move forward. You can't control what life hands you, but you can control how you carry it. That's the Creator's mindset. That's where transformation begins. And let me tell you something. When you step into that power, life starts responding differently. You stop attracting people who feed your wounds and start attracting people who honor your growth. You stop repeating the same lessons because you finally learned them. You begin to see that everything you went through wasn't punishment. It was preparation for this very strength, this very clarity, this very version of you that's standing here now. So if you've been living in the shadow of your pain, waiting for someone to make it right, stop waiting. It's your life, your healing, your story. You have the power to choose what it means. You have the power to turn that pain into wisdom, that fear into fire, that loss into purpose. Don't let your wounds become your identity. Let them become your wisdom. You've been through too much to still see yourself as powerless. It's time to rise as the author of your own story. You're not what happened to you. You're what you choose to become because of it. There's a kind of strength that only comes when you stop fighting what you can't control. We spend so much of our lives wrestling with things that were never meant to be in our hands, trying to change people who don't want to change, trying to hold on to things that are already gone, trying to make life fit our expectations instead of learning to trust its flow. But the truth is, peace begins the moment you stop resisting reality. Acceptance is not giving up, it's waking up. It's saying, I may not like this, but I will learn from it. I may not understand this, but I trust that it has purpose. You see, pain multiplies when we fight it. The more we resist, the deeper it cuts. But when we accept it, when we allow life to show us what it's trying to teach, it begins to lose its grip. Acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with what happened. It means you refuse to let it own you. It's choosing to face the storm without bitterness, knowing that the wind is shaping you into someone wiser. So many people waste their energy wishing things were different. They replay the past over and over, thinking somehow it will change. But the past isn't meant to be changed. It's meant to be understood. And when you finally accept what is, you stop giving your power to what was. That's when healing begins. Not when the pain disappears, but when you stop letting it control your future. Acceptance is a quiet power. It doesn't scream. It doesn't demand it surrenders with dignity. It says, this is what it is, but this is not where it ends. It's a shift from resistance to readiness, because once you accept the truth, You're free to build something new on top of it. You can't rebuild if you keep denying that something fell apart. It's easy to talk about acceptance when life is gentle, but real acceptance is tested when life breaks your heart. When the dream you prayed for collapses, when the person you loved walks away, when the path you planned disappears. That's when acceptance feels like the hardest thing in the world, but that's also when it matters most, because in that moment you're standing at a crossroads, resentment on one side, peace on the other. And whichever one you choose will shape the rest of your story. Resentment keeps you chained to what hurt you. Acceptance sets you free. Resentment says, this shouldn't have happened. Acceptance says, it did happen, but it doesn't have to define me. The day you stop trying to rewrite the story and start learning from it, that's the day your healing begins. Acceptance doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It takes courage to say, I can't control this, but I can control how I respond. That's not surrendering to defeat. That's stepping into power. Because when you accept what is, you stop wasting energy on the impossible and start investing it in what's possible. You begin to move forward, not out of anger, but out of awareness. There's a peace that comes with acceptance, a peace that no amount of control can ever give you. When you stop needing things to go your way, you begin to see the beauty in the way they're already unfolding. You realize that life doesn't make mistakes. Sometimes it closes doors not to punish you, but to protect you. Sometimes it ends things not because you failed, but because you've outgrown them. And maybe, just maybe, the things you're fighting against right now are the very things meant to push you into your purpose. The rejection, the delay, the detour. It's all part of the redirection. When you learn to accept what you can't change, life begins to move through you instead of against you. You stop swimming upstream and start flowing with the current that's meant to carry you forward. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It means you allow life to unfold naturally instead of forcing it to match your plan. You start trusting that what's meant for you will find you, not because you chase it, but because you've created space for it by letting go of what's not. And that's the beauty of acceptance. It doesn't take away the pain, but it removes the suffering. It transforms your perspective from why is this happening to me to what is this trying to teach me. You start to see the lesson behind the loss, the strength behind the silence, the blessing behind the breaking. That's how peace is born, not from control, but from surrender. So if you're in a season of uncertainty, if life has forced you to let go of something you wanted so badly to keep, take a breath. Stop fighting. Stop trying to fix what's not yours to fix. Stand still for a moment and say, it's okay. I trust the process. Because the peace you're looking for isn't waiting at the end of the fight. It's waiting in your willingness to stop fighting. You ever notice how the hardest moments in life have a strange way of showing you who you really are? When everything is stripped away, your comfort, your plans, your sense of control, that's when you meet yourself. That's when life gives you the mirror that doesn't lie. It's not the easy seasons that shape you, it's the ones that shake you. Pain is a sculptor, and though its hands are rough, it's carving something stronger, something purer inside of you. You may not see it while you're in it, but when you look back, you'll realize that every trial was preparing you for a version of yourself you couldn't have become any other way. See, strength isn't born from comfort, it's born from confrontation. The confrontation with your own limits, your fears, your weaknesses. Every time you thought you couldn't take another step but did anyway, that was strength being built. Every night you cried and still got up the next morning to face life again, that was resilience forming. You don't have to be fearless to be strong, you just have to keep going when fear tells you to stop. That's what rebuilding from pain looks like. Standing up with trembling legs but refusing to bow down to the weight of what broke you. Life doesn't give you strength wrapped in ease. It gives you strength wrapped in struggle. And when you understand that, your perspective shifts. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this making me? Because if you pay attention, pain always leaves behind a gift. Wisdom, patience, humility, compassion. The kind of growth you can't learn from books or comfort zones. You learn it in the trenches, in the moments where it's just you, your faith, and the silence between them. We all want strength, but we forget what it costs. True strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the calm voice inside you that says, keep moving, when everything around you says stop. It's the ability to smile with sincerity after heartbreak, to forgive when you could hate, to stay kind in a cruel world. That's power. Not the power to control, but the power to endure. The power to rise without bitterness. Think about it. Gold is refined by fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Seeds break before they grow. So why do we think we can become our best selves without being tested? The pain you feel is not punishment, it's preparation. It's life testing your foundation before it builds you higher. Sometimes the universe has to shake what's weak to reveal what's strong. That shaking feels like loss, but it's actually the start of alignment. You don't grow from what's easy. You grow from what demands everything in you to stay standing. And maybe that's what pain has been doing all along. Teaching you what endurance really means. You see, endurance isn't just about surviving the storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. It's about understanding that you may not be able to control what hits you, but you can control how you respond. Pain doesn't get to write your story unless you hand it the pen. So take that pen back. Start writing from a place of power, not pity. You've made it through too much to be defined by what hurt you. There's a light that only those who have been through darkness can carry. It's a quiet confidence that says, I've seen worse, and I'm still here. That's the kind of strength no one can fake. It's not built in the spotlight. It's forged in the shadows. It's the result of countless silent battles that nobody saw, but you won anyway. You don't owe anyone proof of your resilience. Your survival is proof enough. And when you finally rise from that pain, when you walk with that strength that was carved in struggle, something shifts. You move differently. You see differently. You no longer chase validation because you've already faced the worst and survived it. You stop fearing storms because you remember that the last one didn't drown you. It taught you how to swim. That's the kind of unshakable confidence pain gives you. Not arrogance, but awareness. The awareness that no matter what comes, you've already proven you can rebuild. So if you're in the middle of your storm right now, don't despise it. Don't rush to escape it. Let it build you. Let it strip away everything you thought you needed so it can reveal what you actually have within you. Because once you've rebuilt from pain, you'll never crumble the same way again. You'll bend, but you won't break. You'll fall, but you'll know how to rise. Take a second right now. Breathe. Think of everything that tried to destroy you and failed. You're still standing. That's strength. That's growth. That's purpose in progress.